2 Kings chapter 2. And it came to be, when Yahweh was to take up Elijah to the heaven by a whirlwind, that Eliyahu went with Elisha from Gilgal. And Elijah said to Elisha, "Please remain here, for Yahweh has sent me on to Bethel." And Elisha said, "As Yahweh lives, and as your being lives, I do not leave you." And they went down to Bethel. And the sons of the prophets who were at Bethel came out to Elisha and said to him, "Do you know that Yahweh is taking away your master from your head?" And he said, "I also know, be silent." And Eliyahu said to him, "Elisha, please remain here, for Yahweh has sent me on to Jericho." And he said, "As Yahweh lives and as your being lives, I do not leave you." And they came into Jericho. And the sons of the prophets who were at Jericho came to Elisha and said, "Do you know that Yahweh is taking away your master from over you today?" He said, "I know, be silent." And Eliyahu said, "Please remain here, for Yahweh has sent me on to the garden." And he said, "As Yahweh lives and as your being lives, I do not leave you." And the two of them went on. So I just got this idea to look into those three places that Elijah and Elisha are traveling to. I don't know if anybody else caught this, but is there a connection with the three places that they just visited? Bethel, Jericho, and the garden. And what garden? Is this the Garden of Gethsemane? Is this the garden where Yeshua was buried? Is this, what is this link? What is the link with Bethel, Jericho, and the garden? I'm going to look into that. But if you know, share in the comments below. Verse 7. And 50 men of the sons of the Nebaim, the prophets, went on and stood facing them at a distance, while the two of them stood by the garden. And Eliyahu took his mantle, rolled it up, and struck the water, and it was divided this way and that, so that the two of them passed over on dry ground. And it came to be, when they had passed over, that Elijah, said to Elisha, "Ask what I am to do for you before I am taken away from you." And Elisha said, "Please let a double portion of your spirit be upon me." And he said, "You have made it hard to ask, yet if you see me when I am taken from you, it is yours. But if not, it's not." And it came to be, as they continued on and spoke, that see, a chariot of fire with horses of fire separated the two of them. And Elijah, went up by a whirlwind into the heaven, the Shemayim. And Elisha saw it and cried out, my father, the chariot of Israel and its horsemen." And he saw him no more. Then he took hold of his own garments and tore them into two pieces. And he took up the mantle of Elijah, that had fallen from him, and went back and stood by the bank of the garden. And he took the mantle of Elijah, that had fallen from him, and struck the water, and said, "Where is Yahweh Elohim of Elijah?" And he struck the water, and it was divided this way and that, and Elisha passed over. And when the two sons of the prophets who were from Jericho saw him, they said, "The spirit of Elijah rests on Elisha." And they came to meet him and bowed to the ground before him. Hallelujah. And they said to him, "Look, there are 50 strong men with your servants. Please let them go and search for your master. Let the Ruach, the spirit of Yah, lest the spirit of Yah has taken him up and cast him upon some mountain or in some valley." He said, "Send no one." But they pressed upon him till he was ashamed. And he said, "Go ahead, send." So he sent 50 men, and they searched for 3 days and didn't find him. They returned to him, for he remained in Jericho. And he said, "Did I not say, don't go?" The men of the city said to Elisha, "Look, the site of this city is good, as my master sees, but the waters are spoiled, and the land is barren." And he said, "Bring me a new bowl and put salt in it." And they brought it to him. And he went out to the source of the water and threw salt in there and said, "Thus says Yahweh, I have healed this water. No longer shall death or barrenness come from it." and the waters were healed to this day, according to the word of Elisha, which he spoke. Wow, that's important. Verse 22. The waters were healed in that place to this day. The reason why that place has vegetation, so we're talking about Jericho. The reason this place is healed and there's clean water and there's growing plants is because Elisha spoke the words, the prayer. In verse 21, thus says Yahweh, I have healed this water. No longer shall death or barrenness come from it. Wow, that's mind-blowing to think about. Verse 23, he went up from there to Bethel, and as he was going up the way, some youths came from the city and mocked him, said, go up, bald head, go up, bald head. And he turned around and looked at them and pronounced a curse on them in the name of Yahweh. And 2 female bears came out of the forest and tore to pieces 42 of the youths. Wow. And from there he went to Mount Carmel, and from there he returned to Shamron. Hallelujah.